Wow.
Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast.
Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Thursday. I'm going to pause this. Here we go. Let's get some Sweet Caroline going on here. Start the podcast.
Oh, is it Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline?
Of course it is.
All right, Red Sox fan, you're showing your colors today.
I mean, how do you start off a pod about opening day without a little bit of Neil Diamond? Without a little
I
bit
could
of
think
Sweet
of a million
Caroline?
other ways, like put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. That's way better than Sweet Caroline.
Okay. Way better than Sweet Caroline. When I think Sweet Caroline, I think opening day.
I just think, bump, bump, bump. That's all I think about when I hear
That's
that.
a bad thing. What? That's a great thing.
So good. So good.
I have that drop here, too. I put that on.
Okay. Well,
You know,
can.
that's coming later.
All right, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, I worked really hard on this. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It's Thursday, March 27th, episode 183. Chuck Miketinac, Matt Roy, here to talk about opening day, plus a little bit of breaking Wemby news that we'll get to first. However, it is opening day, one of my favorite days on the sports calendar, so this podcast will mainly be about that. Chuck, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel, News 4 Fox SA. Download, rate, review the podcast if you're so inclined. Helps us out a lot. Planned on talking about all opening day today. We got Astros-Rangers previews, how their seasons are going to go after off seasons of change, really, especially with the Astros. On the Astros side of things, losing two of their best hitters, willingly losing two of their best hitters, I might add. Plus, since baseball is one of the oldest, most nostalgic sports we have, going to talk about some memories that we have on either opening day or baseball memories, favorite ballparks, favorite ballpark food to listen to and eat, or to eat and go to the ballparks. Going to talk about all that, but first, right before we came on, some breaking Wemby news. So a reporter that covers the Spurs here in San Antonio is a French reporter named Maxime Albin. I apologize for butchering your name if I just did. Tweeted out at 12:15, Victor Wembanyama was recently expected to undergo surgery following the deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. French national team coach announced it today, adding he's hopeful that Wemby will participate in Eurobasket tournament this summer. Quote, he's motivated to be part of the team. So this is the first time we had heard that he needed or it was going to have a surgery. We are still working to confirm that with the Spurs and through other sources, but figured it was worth putting it out there now that this seems to be a reality.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're all hearing the news from this reporter, and I'm pretty sure it's right or accurate only because out of the blue, a friend of a friend said, hey, have you heard anything about Victor having shoulder surgery? And it's like, no, not at all. Where did you hear it from? And we were sending texts and I never heard back. So, you know, when I saw this just moments before we walked in, it's like, wow, interesting how worlds collide, right? And I heard something about this yesterday. There was way too much going on to even kind of try to start to vet it because, again, you have no idea. People hear things all the time and, you know, you don't know how much credence anything or what value anything, even though I trust my friends, obviously. But, you know, the conversation didn't go to the point where you could really kind of surmise what was going on other than, you know, could have been somebody just heard something that somebody was spitballing. So it sure seems plausible at this point that story is 100% accurate.
Luis, please stop breaking the computers over there. Thank you. When this all first came about, we heard from so many different doctors saying, is the surgery necessary? Is the surgery not necessary? The one that we talked to, or the few that we talked to, said a surgery isn't always necessary, but you were just looking it up before we came in here about Brandon Ingram. The DVT that he had.
Right, and his was related to thoracic outlet syndrome. So, you know, that was a a good diagnosis in that the thoracic outlet syndrome was the thing that caused the blood clot. We don't know what caused Victor's blood clot, but in the Brandon Ingram scenario, things have worked out fine. He was able to come back and resume his career.
Right. And I wish Don was here to just talk about this a little bit, just because his son had something similar to that. And I don't remember if his son had surgery or not, but we'll talk to him.
I think he did.
We'll talk to him more about it on Monday. But wanted to get that in because it was obviously breaking news literally at less than an hour before we came on. And so it wasn't on the rundown, but wanted to get that in here. Hopefully Victor's okay. And I don't know if the Spurs are going to want him to play in Eurobasket this summer, but I don't know if Spurs fans are going to want him to play in Eurobasket this summer, but that's a discussion for another day. Throw your headphones back on. I got more Sweet Caroline for you. All right. Let's get back to baseball. Bum, bum, bum.
So good, so good, so good. See, I went on more high, see it? It's in my nature to go well.
You're always taking the high road, Chuck. Anyway, so I do it. This is your opening day gift. I have trivia for you. So we're going to start with trivia today. The trivia question is not that hard. I think you'll probably be able to get it. Which team?
Based on what you're wearing?
Which team? I will give you a hint. It's not the Red Sox.
Okay.
Which team has the best all-time winning percentage on opening day?
I'll just go with the Yankees.
It is not the Yankees. They have played like over 130 opening day games. They are fourth.
Really?
Yes, they are fourth. You have another guess?
No, I really don't.
It is in the NL.
The Dodgers?
They are fifth.
Wow. In the National League, huh?
National League East.
Oh, wow. The Phillies?
Nope.
Wow.
I know, he's supposed to be. It is the Mets.
No kidding.
The New York Metropolitans.
Who knew? Shout out John Gibbons.
I believe they're 41-20 on opening day in their existence. 651 winning percentage.
Well, guess who they play today?
Who do they play today?
The Houston Astros.
Oh, there you go. See, the Mariners are second with a 604 winning percentage. The Orioles are third with 593. Yankees 570, and the Dodgers at 556. So,
okay.
The Mets very good on opening day. We'll see if they are against the Stros today with Framber Valdez on the bump. So let's get to opening day. I want to talk about memories first because that's my favorite part. That's one of my favorite things about baseball. I think that's why baseball has the appeal that it does, is because it's like the traditional nostalgic game. It's the America's pastime for the longest time. And so, Chuck, what is your favorite baseball memory? It doesn't have to be opening day, just any baseball memory. What is your favorite in your extensive life?
I don't know. The one that comes to mind is Tuffy Rhodes on opening day for the Cubs hit 3 home runs. I'm thinking, geez, this may be the only home runs he hits all year. And I forget the year. It was sometime in the 90s. But there have actually been a couple of guys that have had 3 homer days, and I can't remember them all. I think George Bell of the Blue Jays was one of them, but that have had 3 homer days on opening day. So it's quite unusual to have a 3 homer game period. Mm-hmm. To have 2 or 3 on opening day seems a little odd.
Wasn't it Hank Aaron who tied Babe Ruth with his first home run on opening day? It was like 1950-something, 1960-something. I think he tied Babe Ruth's 714. With a home run on opening day.
I don't think that was opening day, but I could be wrong. I just remember where I was when that happened.
There you go. What about your favorite event or favorite game that you witnessed in person? You are a lover of baseball.
I am, and I've been to many opening days, too, through the years, just to cover and to report on. I would say, and I'm pretty sure it was opening day, when I was at Texas State, I think it was my first year there, we all road tripped with a couple buddies that were from Houston. We went to opening day. It was Will Clark's major league debut, and he took Nolan Ryan deep in his first major league at bat. So I would say that's probably it.
That's pretty
good.
I
hope my memory's serving me on that because, things tend to get distorted a little bit over time, whether intentionally or not.
Bob, are you a big baseball fan? You have any baseball memories that you'd like to share?
I just remember Little League. I used to love playing baseball when I was a kid. That was then, but I'm not a big MLB fan. I'm a
Guardians
Indians fan, but I love the Tribe. I'll put it that way.
I love the Tribe.
But it's kind of hard to follow them here. You know, yeah. Well, it's not easy to follow the Browns either. But
it's probably harder to follow the Browns, to be honest. At least the Guardians are good.
They're so good. They really are. I mean,
So good.
Yeah, so good. How about you? Any come to mind?
I have a unique memory. So this had to have been 11 years ago, something like that. I grew up in Southern California, as some may know, and so I always tried to go to the Anaheim Red Sox series because that was really the only time I got to see them. They didn't play the Dodgers every year at that time, and so always tried to go to Anaheim to see them there. And my girlfriend at the time and I got tickets back-to-back days. We were staying down in Anaheim. We went there, we went to Disneyland, did a whole thing. And so they, at this point, had one rainout in Anaheim Angels history because of the weather in Southern California is just always good in the summer. You never get rainouts. The second rainout in Anaheim Angels history was the first game that we went to, and this third rainout was the second game we were going to go to.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
So,
what are the odds?
So we're sitting there in the concourse for like hours, just like, they've got to get this game in, right? They've got to. It's like a June in Southern California. Just never got the game in, so we didn't get to see the Red Sox that day. But
hey, one of our reoccurring visitors for this podcast, Robert Smith.
What's up, Robert?
What's up, Bob?
He's got a memory. He says I got a couple. One was during the Barry Bonds craze.
Okay.
When ESPN would cut in on his at-bats, and I was stopped late night watching that at-bat, and it was something, each pitch an adventure.
Damn right.
That sure was the case, man, during that stretch. Must-see TV.
What about favorite stadium you've ever been to?
That's a hard one because I like a lot of stadiums. In fact, I like them all. I can give you like my sneaky pick would be Kansas City.
I love Kauffman. Kaufman's great.
It really is. You cannot go wrong with either Wrigley or Fenway.
Never been to either of those,
But
unfortunately.
I would say my favorite ballpark right now has got to be San Francisco.
Also a great ballpark.
I mean, that's with the backdrop and everything else. That is good, clean living right there. If you ever get a chance to see, is it still AT&T Park or is it something else now?
It's renamed now, but it's still gorgeous. that I do know.
I mean, I've been to like a half dozen games there in my life. I mean, just the most random thing.
They just get better, man. Those games in that ballpark hit differently because especially with McCovey Cove right there, you see a ball fly over the wall and you see the kayaks try and get it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and San Francisco really doesn't get enough credit for being a really good sports town too. I mean, those fans are into it, and it helps obviously when you won 3 titles in a span of 6 years. I think galvanizing a fan base. That's a great place to watch a Major League Baseball
I've
game.
only been to a handful of stadiums, probably 6 of the current 30 that are in existence. Anaheim is cool, but it's a little outdated now. I love Kauffman. I love Busch Stadium too.
It's another good one.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis is phenomenal, especially with the backdrop. You have there's this huge apartment building, like literally in the backdrop, and it's called the Ballpark Apartments, and it's like $8,000 for one of the penthouses that you can see all the games on. It's ridiculous.
One of the few parks I have not been to, but from everybody that I've talked to that's basically done the circuit of seeing ballparks, Pittsburgh is the one
Also
that is apparently
backdrop.
You need to go to.
Also a great backdrop on
It's
that.
a bucket lister thing. Well, I mean, I'll just add it to the bucket list today. It's one of those things. I'm going to get there at some point, hopefully. I live long enough to do it.
It's not Major League, but my favorite place I ever saw a ball game was here in San Antonio when the Missions used to play at St. Mary's.
VJ Keefe? Yeah. That was fun,
was
too.
An amazing place to
I've
watch
been
a
to
game.
Wolf Stadium.
Wolf Stadium's just the only place you need to go.
There you go. You've been to Wolf, you've been to them all, right?
Exactly. What other ones have I been to? Globe Life is just new, but I don't love the stadium aspect of it. I'm not a huge domed baseball stadium fan. Like, baseball is an outdoor sport for me. It
Agree.
has to have no roof on it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, it's nice to have the roof if there's a threat of rain, obviously,
Right.
so you can get the game in. But, Seattle's fantastic. Dodger Stadium has its charm, too.
Yeah, that's fair. If you don't get burned while you're out watching a baseball game, did you actually go see a baseball game? That's you got to be out in the sun and just baking with a beer and a hot dog in your hand, and you're set for life. Best baseball stadium food. What is your like go-to if you're going up to a concession stand? Go-to at the.
Well, you got to have a hot dog or a brat. You know, you get a brat. It's like really good in Milwaukee, and obviously whatever you like to drink along with it. But I feel like you can't go to a ballpark if you don't have a bag of peanuts. It's a great. They usually give you way too many, so you can give some to the people behind you or to the people that you're with, and it's a great way to kind of make some friends while you're in a nice environment.
I was at a baseball game with my mom at Globe Life, and I got a bag of peanuts, and I'm just shelling them and eating and watching the game and stuff like that. She's like, "Are you really going to go through that whole bag of peanuts?" I was like, "I almost finished this entire big ass bag of peanuts." I was like, really impressive, actually.
My first time to Fenway Park, we bought multiple bags of peanuts, and we had this really nice lady in front of us, and husband, wife, the whole family was there, and they turned around and politely asked if we could put the peanuts away because one of their children had a peanut allergy. And I was thinking, okay, yes, of course we acquiesced and we did it, but I'm thinking, geez, then this is probably the last place you want to take a kid, right?
I mean, at least they asked,
No,
nicely.
they were nice, and obviously, we're not the monsters.
You start
at
throwing
13 Mockingbird
throwing
Lane.
them at the kid. I was going to ask favorite thing to drink, but I heard my answer's pretty.
I'm not,
easy.
I like beer. I'm not going to make any bones about that. And I think everybody knows that about me.
They don't serve German beer
at the
stadiums.
ballpark. That's right. At the ballpark, though, it's usually a soda. I mean,
Really?
I don't know. Just the soda tastes better with the peanuts for some reason.
Would you ever participate in the 999 challenge?
No, I don't even know what that is.
9 beers, 9 hot dogs, and 9 innings.
No. No, anything that is that gluttonous, it is instantly a turnoff. I mean, if I overeat, I feel sick.
I'll do either or. I would drink 9 beers or eat 9 hot dogs and 9
I'd
innings.
have a better shot at the 9 beers than I would the 9 hot dogs.
Oh, like 9 beers don't stand a chance. Those things are done. Anyway, so I wanted to start off.
Please drink responsibly.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was looking online. It says that Citi Field, the New York Mets have been rated to have the best food.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, the ballpark food in Arlington and in Houston, I think, is pretty good.
You see the new thing that Arlington just did? They have how they had the boom
burrito?
stick? Well, they had the boomstick, the 24-inch hot dog. Now they have the boom burrito, boomstick burrito, 24 inches of burrito.
And it's
That's
probably
so
$900.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down, but it sounds horrible. Also, I don't like nacho cheese, and it's filled with nacho cheese. So.
But is that really cheese?
No, but it's nacho.
Made in the lab.
Nacho blech. Anyway, so let's get to some actual baseball news. So the major storyline going into baseball season is the Dodgers. They have the highest payroll in baseball by not that wide of a margin because Shohei Ohtani's money is only $2 million on their books this year, $68 million deferred for like 15 years after he's done. But they have the highest payroll in baseball. They have loaded up with numerous superstars, especially on the pitching staff with Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell buying him this offseason. And they have Kirby Yates now at the back end of the bullpen, and Roki Sasaki, who is the all-everything Japanese phenom that actually came over really cheap because of some weird transfer rules. And then they have Yamamoto, who I totally messed up that name. And then, of course, Shohei Ohtani. So are they the new – you're just all over the place, Luis. Are they the new evil empire of the baseball? Because it was the Yankees for so long. And now you have Steinbrenner saying – it's hard to keep up with them. When you have Steinbrenner saying that you can't keep up with somebody because of how much they're buying people, you know that there's a little bit of an issue.
But, like Kirby Yates is a prime example. Anybody could have had Kirby Yates. And then look how long he had to wait to just go find a deal. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to hate the Dodgers, and it's hard for me to say that, is this bad for the game or this is going to be the team that I hate? Because, who on their team is infinitely hateable? I can't think of really one guy. And that's
fair.
Normally, back in the day, if you didn't like the way that Albert Bell played or, Reggie Jackson or, whoever you didn't like because they were, they're too much personality or they played too hard or they didn't play quote unquote the right way or whatever it was, maybe there'd be a little bit more of a target. But I can't think of anybody. How do you not like Mookie Betts? How do you not like...
As a Red Sox fan, I love Mookie Betts, and I'm really sad he's not still on our team.
or, some of the guys that they've had, like even Jock Peterson, and we were lucky a few years ago. We went to spring training and we were getting preview stuff for Big League Weekend when the Rangers would have somebody in to play a couple of games in the Alamo Dome, and it was really a lot of fun. And, even during spring training, you get a chance to see what an organization is like, what the players might be like, and just nothing but gold. Jock Peterson was a rookie that year. We did something with him out there, and then when he got to the Alamo Dome too. And so it's kind of cool to, see that guy have a career as long as he's had. Now he's with the Rangers too.
Yeah.
And, if you got a sense for him being a fun-loving guy, you don't know what they're going to be like when they're a sage-old veteran. But, man, from all the reports, it seems like this guy he's going to be a real glue guy in that clubhouse.
To your point, when it comes to the Dodgers not really having hateable players, Freddie Freeman.
Right.
How do you not love Freddie Freeman?
Right.
Shohei Ohtani, never done anything besides we'll put the gambling stuff with his translator and stuff aside, or his interpreter aside. He's not eminently hateable. He's the best player of my generation, probably.
Yes. Of everybody's generation.
Yeah, Blake Snell is a little crotchety, but we don't know him very well. All these guys seem like good dudes that have just been put together on a super team, and now they're tasked with going to break the all-time wins record and going to win the World Series with the shortest odds since in the last 25 years. So it's just when you put this many stars and you pay this much money to this many players, and you're basically like, anytime there's a headline-grabbing free agent, you're the one grabbing them. I think it makes the team as a whole hateable, but I don't think they have eminently hateable players now.
That's fair. It's why we all hated the Yankees forever, right? Oh, they got more money than anybody else.
And they were winning all the time.
Well, they were, yes. But, since the era of, teams that have decided to do it differently than the teams that spend a lot of money, it's not worked out extremely well for the Yankees. They've always been relevant, but, to punch through and win it.
When you have they've
had the Astros in their way for most of the decade.
Yeah, when you have
of the last decade.
It's just going to work like that. Like, if you win a lot, eventually people are going to want to see you lose. The Chiefs, it has happened. With the Patriots, it happened. With the Yankees, it happened. Luis, I don't know what you're doing, but it's sounding weird in my ear. With the Yankees, it happened. With everybody, now the Dodgers, now that they're the ones that are at the mountaintop, somebody wants to see somebody knock off the mountaintop.
Yeah, look at their division. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody's going to hand them anything.
We'll get to the odds here in a second. They're over/under on their win total is 103.5. People are going to
103.5.
People are going to act
the
like
Rock. I'm sorry.
People are going to act like it's a disappointment if they don't break the Seattle Mariners win record of 116. And I think that's just insane. Winning 103 games is an achievement in and of itself. But winning 116 is absolutely bonkers. So if they don't get to that mountaintop and people view it as a disappointment, it'd be crazy. However, I do think that it's fair to hate this team because of what they've done.
You got to have a villain somewhere, right?
Exactly.
That's fair.
I'm
with you.
You have 29 teams. Well, let's call it 27 because the A's and the White Sox don't count. You have 20, and the Rockies for that matter. You have 26 teams trying to knock off the Dodgers here. So let's talk about Stros and Rangers here for a second and preview kind of the AL West. So I have a couple of questions here. Can the Rangers my major question for the Rangers is, can they get back to 2023 offensively? They were the best offense in baseball in 2023 for a reason. Can they do it again?
I don't know. There's a lot of question marks, right? Adali's hit really, really well this spring, right? And you're thinking, okay, whatever happened to him last year, he's going to flip that. He really worked hard in the offseason. So let's give them a pass there at his position in the lineup. They're going to be better there. Is Corey Seager going to be fully healthy? He's DHing today. He's not even playing shortstop. Is he going to be able to stay at the level that he's been doing offensively? It's probably not fair to ask these guys to do the same thing over and over and over. They're expecting it, obviously, but at some point, is it going to be sustainable for another year? Same with Marcus Semien. Can Josh Young bounce back after an injury-plagued last season? There's Evan Carter. Look at how good he was in 2023, and he's not even in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of question marks with the Rangers. They're going with Kumar Rocker and Leiter in their rotation. And those guys won no games last year. Leiter's ERA was 8. So they have a lot of questions. Now, I think there's a huge potential for this team, but to me, they have as many questions as you could possibly imagine going into the season. I like what they've done. I like, even I saw today Josh Young had bought like really nice goodie bags for everybody they're trying to galvanize the room and, make us one against the whole world. And I think that's going to have value too. But, are they going to be able to find enough pitching bodies that are healthy, and can the offense bounce back? I really don't know.
I think, the catalyst might be the young man that you just talked about, Josh Young.
As he goes, they go?
When he started so hot last year, that team had so much potential. As soon as he went down, the offense kind of took a crap. And then he never really got back to what he was doing late in the season once he came back healthy, even after all the setbacks that he had, because he was supposed to come back after like 6 to 8 weeks, and it just kept being put off because his wrist didn't feel right.
Well,
and so hopefully he comes back healthy,
to
and
your
they
point,
have that at third base now.
Yeah, he came back because he is, as long as they were still alive for any sort of a playoff push, there was no way the organization was going to keep him off the field. But to tell you how bad that injury was, he needed another procedure this off season to help fix what was broken initially with the wrist, however many months that was earlier, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it was. So yeah, he's huge in that lineup. Now they went and they've got a couple extra bats during the off season, but they need Josh to be Josh, and hopefully he's healed up and he's ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the pitching staff goes, I feel like if they don't have a healthy Jacob deGrom, they don't have the depth to replace him this season.
No, that's for me, that's a given. Like, they have to have deGrom. They have to have Evolve.
You got to have him for 150 innings this
year.
You
got to have him. I think what they're going to do is they're going to let him pitch to start and then, see how he does. But, they're going to let him miss starts during the season to try to load him properly so that if they are in a position in late August and September to either A, sustain what they have, or to make a push towards something. But they're going to have to slow build him a little bit too. It's been a while since he's really gotten back and, had to build up the stamina to pitch a whole season.
One thing that does give me some confidence when it comes to the Rangers is their manager, Bruce Bochy, who's done this for many, many years. And last time he won the World Series was with the Giants, and guess what happened after they won the first World Series? They sucked the year after. Guess what happened after that year? They won the World Series again.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with him because that happened 3 times.
It did happen 3
times.
Won
the World Series, sucked, won the World Series, sucked, won the World Series. So maybe
and
that
did
happens.
the same thing in Texas, right?
Exactly. So
won
maybe that happens again this year.
They weren't very good last year.
And even though they weren't very good last year, they still had
they were super competitive,
they
right?
were competitive in every game.
And Chris Young, their president of baseball ops, he gave a press conference earlier this week, and he was kind of giving the lay of the land. And I think he's taking ownership of the fact that he thought that at some point things were going to start happening. And then they didn't, with all the injuries and everything else. They just never really could get into a rhythm as a ball club. And I don't think he's going to allow that to happen this year. I think if something's not looking like it's right, I don't know that there's going to be a long leash for some of these guys to figure something out. I don't think they're going into this season thinking, well, we're just going to play, hope we're doing well by July, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that have eyes on them that if you're not producing or you're not pulling your end of the rope, I think they're going to pivot accordingly.
As far as the Astros go, how do you replace Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman?
Well, you can start by what looks to be like Cam Smith, right? You've got a 22-year-old kid that has 32 minor league at-bats, and we didn't know who this guy was, right? He comes over in the Kyle Tucker trade, and I know when I was looking at it, it's like, okay, you can see they got Paredes, they got a pitcher, and then they got this kid, but he's just right out of college. Okay, this is the meat of the deal. You got Paredes is going to be a starter, and he's a really good player, but this guy doesn't look like a throw-in at all. You've seen him. He's big. He's athletic. he looks baseball-y with the twitch and the swing.
And
he's a third baseman by trade, and they stick him in the outfield. He finally made an error in his first one of the spring. In right field, he looks like he's been there his whole life. I mean, this dude is an athlete. He looks like he's got the right demeanor. I think an infusion of youth and a guy that isn't just youthful, but a guy that potentially has damage, or can do damage. This dude led them in homers and RBIs. I don't know. I'm as excited to watch him in this environment today as I think I can remember anybody, because I didn't think for 2 seconds this guy, like when this was all starting to happen, it's like, this is great. This is giving the Astros something to look at. But to think that they've started his contract clock, again, I'm not going to tell these guys how to run their business. If they see it in him, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I got a lot more concern about the Astros than I do the Rangers this year, because I've seen both teams do it. Obviously, the Astros have been one of the perennial contenders for the last decade, and the Rangers just won a World Series. But I just have the depth isn't there for the Astros anymore when it comes to their pitching staff, when it comes to their lineup. You're putting Altuve at 30-some-odd years old in the left field, where he looks like a fish out of water
100%.
for the entire spring training. Like, you would literally come in jokingly and say, has Altuve made an error today? Because it seemed like every single day he was making an error in left field.
It's, I don't want to pick on the guy because I believe he's, right there on the doorstep of the Hall of Fame if he isn't there already. But, he's not even able to make the throws back into the infield on the fly. He can't hit the cutoff man. So with that, and with as nuanced as that outfield is in left, not an easy place to play. I think he's going to get better, but at what cost, right? This is going to be a very interesting experiment. I feel more comfortable with Cam Smith learning right field than I do Jose Altuve learning the left field position.
So the Astros and the Rangers both have a win total of about 86.5 according to Caesar Sportsbook. That's where I'm going to get all my odds today. So I don't, I usually go to DraftKings, but I'll do one book today. So 86.5 is both of their over-under win totals. Rangers over or under 86.5 wins.
I'll give them over, and I'll give the Astros too.
Astros and Rangers, 87 wins or more, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go to predictions then. Sorry, Luis, I know you're busy over there. Let's go to predictions. So, AL West. We'll start there since the AL West is what we've been discussing already. The Astros are the favorites at Caesar Sportsbook to win the AL West. They're plus 170. The Rangers right behind them at plus 180. Mariners plus 210. And then the Angels and A's bringing up the rear. So, who wins the AL West?
And flip a coin, right? I'm going to go with the Mariners.
That's really interesting you say that, because I was going to too. I don't think you have that pitching staff and don't win enough games because they're going to have a chance to win every game.
Right. It's just like last year, right? They had no offense, and yet there they were in the closing weeks with a chance to either A, get into the playoffs, or B, win the division, right? I don't know that they did enough offensively to get better. Hopefully they've addressed some things internally that maybe we're going to have to play differently this year in order to score runs. I don't know what that looks like, but you give me those 5 starters. Bryce Miller, shout out Bryce Miller.
Shout out, New Braunfels unicorn Bryce Miller.
So that's as good of a starting staff as we may have seen. I don't know if I can ever think. Even if you go back to the 90s Braves, which was really, really damn good. The depth, I don't know that they had 5 guys like that. Well, they had 5.
Well, yeah, Maddox, Smoltz, and
Maddox, Smoltz, Clavin. There was one other guy too. Yeah, there's a lefty.
But even the Dodgers this year have a really good staff, obviously, and that's part of why they're the evil empire now. The Mariners have a better staff than the Dodgers do, and that's really saying something. Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, Castillo.
Can you imagine if these guys got into a playoff situation, what they could do with those arms in a short series? You wouldn't score.
If they can score 5 runs a game, they'll win 100 games.
Yes. They're not going to score 5 runs. They won't score 5 runs a game. But if they can score 4, they're going to be in the hunt.
Yeah, that team is just, that pitching staff is so insane. You can have any starter on any given day go 6, 7 no-hit shutout innings. Like, it's absolutely bonkers.
It really is.
So we both go Mariners off the board, which is weird for us. So let's go AL Central. Twins are the favorites at plus 175. Tigers plus 250. Guardians the Tribe at plus 320, and for the Royals at plus 340. And then the White Sox at under a pile of crap.
You know, the Twins are hard to – I secretly kind of root for them. I kind of like the way they do their business in a lot of ways. But I don't know. My heartstrings are tugging on me for Kansas City. I hope at some point that kid from Florida that we saw last year in the College World Series that they sent to AA, which, by the way, they're supposed to play the Missions, a Castiglione kid. Mm-hmm. Like, that guy too, man. Like
he'll make it eventually.
He's the American version of Shohei. I mean, and this guy, he looks like Cam Smith at the plate. Jeez, what a talent! I cannot believe that guy did not make the team out of spring training. But then I can when you got to manage the books. Yes, that's how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go Royals. So you're going Royals?
All right, we're 2 for 2 here.
Well, yeah, we're both. This is bad.
I'm going to go with the Royals.
I apologize to the Mariners and the Royals because we've cursed both of you.
Yes, we have.
1, it's Jordan's team. 2, I picked them last year, and they were my dark horse, and they barely lost the division last year. They went on a slide in September that just cost them the division. Still made the playoffs, which is great. But Bobby Witt is going to show himself as the best player in the AL this year. I truly believe that he will be the best player in the American League. And the Royals have done something that the Angels never could with Mike Trout. And they've proven that they don't want to have a great, huge superstar on a middling roster. They've tried to improve this roster as much as they can in a mid-sized market. And I think that it'll show.
Yeah, and he took probably less money that he would have gotten in the open market. So kudos to him for thinking that it's important that you can be the face of a franchise in a town and it still be great for baseball.
Absolutely. AL East, my pick's going to be pretty obvious. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox. They're plus 250. The Yankees are favored at plus 160. The Orioles are third best odds at plus 275. Rays are plus 900. Blue Jays plus 1100. I'm going to go Red Sox. They have the deepest lineup that they've had in the past 8 years. Their leadoff hitter, Jared Duran, is possibly going to be an MVP consideration this year. If Rafael Devers doesn't get bored playing or DHing, I think he'll have a 40-homer season now and kind of taking that big poppy role. Alex Bregman now in the middle of that lineup. If Trevor Story can stay healthy, which is a big if because he always is hurt ever since they signed him a couple of years ago. And then they have the three-headed monster of prospects. They have the second best, fourth best, and 26th best prospects who are all MLB ready in their farm system. Christian Campbell is actually starting at second base this today on opening day. He's already called up to the majors. So I think they have one of the deepest lineups they've ever had. I think that they did a lot to shore up their pitching depth. Jared Crochet is going to be a Cy Young candidate as long as he stays healthy. Walker Buehler, we'll see what he has left in the tank. Put him beside Brian Bello and Houck. I always forget his first name. I always want to say Trevor. They are going to need some bullpen help midseason, but I think they're going to be really, really good.
I would like to help you out on that, but I obviously don't know anything about the Red Sox other than hard for me to pull against Alex Bregman. I would never do that. I look at that division, and I hope it's anybody but the Yankees.
I think, yeah, I mean, the Orioles would be second. The Yankees are just down.
I hope the Orioles too, but, you know, the Santander loss is going to be huge for them.
And Corbin Burns.
Right. So, and they, you know, the Orioles just stopped hitting in September.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it too was, you know, we have another young man from New Braunfels that's right there smack dab in the middle of their lineup. He got hurt too with a similar injury right after he made All-Stars. So
New Braunfels churning out MLB All-Stars out there.
They have 3 major leaguers right now too.
Who wins the NL West? I think this one's pretty easy.
The NL West.
Also, did you give me an actual pick for the AL East, or
no? I didn't. I said anybody but the Yankees.
Well, I need an actual pick here.
All right, I'm going to go with the Orioles.
All right, you go with the Orioles.
Even though I just said why I don't think they're going to win.
All right,
because I want the Blue Jays to win that division.
Yeah,
or at least in my prior life. So
NL West, I'm going to go Dodgers. I mean, I think it's pretty stupid if you don't go Dodgers at this point. They're minus 700. The sports book is basically telling you 9 times out of 10 the Dodgers are going to win this division.
Boy, you know, I'm just not. Yes, I'm 100% with you. It would be silly to pick against the Dodgers as we sit here today, knowing what we know about all these teams. But something tells me it ain't going to be as easy as they. I shouldn't say they because I know they know it's not going to be easy. But like everybody is saying, it's them, and that's only them. I mean, we have no idea if Shohei can stay healthy for an entire season. That's been really rough on him. So I don't know. I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres.
Interesting.
Just
My
for
next
no
pick
other
would be
reason.
my next pick would be
I like the way
D-backs.
the D-backs do their business too.
I just
right?
love Torey Lovello. I really do. He's a great dude.
Yeah,
He's
and another sharp organization that does their business very well.
absolutely. NL Central is an interesting division. I'm going to go with the Reds.
Okay.
I think that the Reds and Ellie De La Cruz might be the MVP this year if Shohei Ohtani gets hurt.
He sure is fun to watch.
He is so much fun to watch.
You would pay hard cash to watch him play ball.
100%.
I know I would too, and I can't believe how big that guy is.
Oh my God!
You saw him at the All-Star game last year, and I was like, "Holy cow, who is that?
He's
Is
a monster.
that freaking J.J. Watt?"
Yeah, he's a monster at shortstop.
Unreal.
But I'm gonna go Reds. Also, I love Terry Francona is my guy. Like Tito is
Solid.
I will always root for a Tito managed team. So Terry Francona, I'm rooting for you. Even when he was with the Guardians.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Tito.
Yeah, honestly, he's just a baseball dude.
We had Tito here for Big League Weekend. I mean, that's what's so cool about what was so cool about having that event here is, getting to rub elbows with maybe people that you wouldn't necessarily have had a chance to otherwise.
Yeah, Red Sox legend Terry Francona. All right, NL Central. You have the odds in your packet, right? You keep looking over at mine.
No, I know, but I can't see because you're covering up my glasses. I'm going to go the Brew Crew, man. I mean, there's another team, another organization that does their business right, and don't go to sleep on the Cubs. I mean, I think adding what they added, there's a lot of juice there, and that division, top to bottom, could be won by really any of those teams. But I'll go with Milwaukee just as a matter of recent history.
Luis, you're a little behind on the Supers. We're on NL East now. NL East. All right, NL East. Braves are the prohibitive favorites at plus 110. Phillies plus 215. Mets 225. And then the Nats and the Marlins are behind that. That should say plus 800. I'm going to go Braves because even though they had the worst injury luck last year, Spencer Strider gets hurt 4 starts in. Ronald Acuna tears his other ACL. Even though they had some of the worst injury luck, they won over 90 games. They are just a well-built team and a well-run organization. If anybody is going to knock off the Dodgers, it's going to be the Braves.
Yeah, and then, the Mets were right there last year, too.
Juan Soto of it all,
Yeah, and then the Phillies have a grit about them and a team with probably the best collectively head of hair of any team in Major League Baseball. I'm going to go with the Phillies simply because of that.
I love it. Now we're going to get to the NL Pennant.
Right.
Who wins the National League, Chuck?
Oh, geez. See, this is the problem with picking division winners.
'Cause
Who
you
wins the
forgot
National League? I'll go with the Dodgers because they'll make it as a wild card.
I'm going to go Braves. The Dodgers do not make it to the World Series. The evil empire is slain. The Return of the Jedi. I'm just putting in as many Star Wars references as I can get in here. I think that I love the Braves. I love the way that the team is constructed. They have a great bullpen. Chris Sale was a revelation last year. I'm really pissed that he couldn't do that for the Red Sox and that he only did that when he was traded to the Braves. But I digress. I love Chris and help us get a World Series in 2018. However, I have to believe that it's not as simple as creating a super team and just sending them off to the World Series. I have to. It has to be something else. Is Dave Roberts going to be able to manage all the personalities? Is the injury luck going to be on their side? I don't know. But just to have some fun, I'm going to pick the Braves.
I like that. I'm with you. I mean, this isn't as easy as – that's the beautiful thing, right, of sitting here this time of year. Everybody's got a chance, right? You never know what's going to happen, who's going to start clicking. And I just know it's not going to be as easy as simply penning the Dodgers down and getting to the World Series. At least I hope that's the case.
American League pennant.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to go Red Sox.
Trick questions, man.
I'm going to go Red Sox. My second pick, and you can call me a homer all you want. I love the way that this Red Sox team is constructed. My second pick would be the Yalls. The Royals. I love the way that team is constructed, too.
Well, I'm going to hope it's the Rangers or the Astros. And you want me to flip a coin?
No. That means they're both going to make it as wild cards?
Huh? Yeah. I think that division's going to be legit.
A 3-team division.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think it's going to be flip a coin. And Astros or Rangers?
Oh, man. They're going to tie in Game 7, and they're going to play in perpetuity, so they have to send them both there, and they're going to play a round robin.
Okay. Who wins the World Series?
The Dodgers. I mean, you're asking me to pick, right? So
I mean,
have a heart out there, people. I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball.
I do.
I hate these things.
I do. The Red Sox are going to win the World Series. I have a Red Sox Braves World Series. I think the Red Sox will pull it out if they stay healthy. I think they actually have the best team in the AL. And if the Dodgers get knocked off by the Braves, which I'm also predicting, I think the Red Sox have a better team than the Braves do. So I'll just go with the Sox. It's a complete homer pick, but
that's all right.
I haven't been able to pick the Red Sox for anything in like 5 years. So I'm really happy that they actually have a decent team. Major award winners, I'm just going to give you mine. I know you might not
stamp yours.
You might not have thought about it, but there's the list right there.
I haven't.
AL MVP, I'm going to go Bobby Witt. NL MVP would be stupid to choose anybody but Shohei Ohtani, especially if he pitches this season. AL Cy Young, I'm going to go with Jarrett Crochet. If the Red Sox make it to the World Series, that means that he performed lights out and that the trade was worth it this offseason. NL Cy Young is where I don't know, but I'm going to go Paul Skeens just because it's fun.
Well, just because that's a pretty safe bet.
I think it's a safe bet, too,
okay.
as long as he stays healthy.
So I'm going to go with Bryce Miller in the American League. That's the only thing I would, kind of make differently. Because
talk about a homer pick.
Bryce, it is, but also because I have eyes to see. And I watched a lot of his starts coming down the stretch last year. I like that he makes in-season adjustments, teaching himself new pitches. And he's one of those guys that's always evolving. If he stays healthy, look the F out.
Love it. All right. Anything else on opening day here?
No, looking forward to it.
Yeah, first game starts here in just about 5 minutes. So let's get out of here. Everyone enjoy the baseball season. We'll be back right here on Monday with more Sneakers and Cleats. See you then.